Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. This is Azrael, and in this video, I'm making it's going to be introducing to another playlist. I have several playlists. Playlist on basic forms of necromancy, video basics teaching you the very basics about banishing and the concept of beginning steps into witchcraft, and then it branches out to everything from information, basic philosophical or metaphysical beliefs on magic, right down to various techniques. And this is another one that's going to be here for your studies. Divination. I'm going to be talking about all kinds of forms of divination. Why is this subject so scary to people, even seasoned practitioners? Not scary as in, divination is bad. Okay? No, it's daunting. There's so many different ways to do a specific form of divination. There's so many forms of divination. You would be hard pressed to memorize every single kind. You have a basic concept, say like omens. Well, it's separated into several different groups, like birds, divination on birds, and it has its own special name, which is because with an A right now. It's pulling things off my memory. So, but anyways, I can't remember it right now. But for the sake of not doing this video over and over and over again, I'm just going to move on. So there's forms of interpreting by bellomancy when you're shooting an arrow, right, and how the arrows land. That's called bellomancy. That's actually used in the Bible, even though you're not supposed to use divination according to the Bible. But there's divination from how people, what people will say. I kid you not. That's also another practice in the by the Israelites. Actually, they decided what they were going to do, and they believed that their God told them what to do based on what they heard within a conversation. All right, I'll be teaching similar things like that, but that's more nuance. All right, but anyways, going into other forms, there's pyromancy, divination using fire. Ah, man. So I'm going to be teaching some of the easiest ways to learn certain forms, and the psychology that taught me how to learn quickly, almost within my sleep, on various concepts are two concepts. And it is these two concepts that drive most of divination. And you're going to see that in these upcoming videos. I'm going to make several of them back to back, probably publish them all at one time to get you started and give me time to relax, because I need to put out some videos, but I'm kind of wanting to take a break. Anyway, here we go. The ideomotor effect, which is something that you have heard me talk about before if you've watched my other channels. This is when your brain, it's called ideo because it's unknown. Okay, your unknown body movements. Perfect example is when you're doing a Ouija board, right? You're moving all around. Your subconscious brain is doing the movements. All right. The spirits. Before we go on further, now this is the ideomotor effect is actually a way that skeptics use to debunk things such as the pendulum, where you're holding the pendulum and the slightest motion that you're not physically thinking about doing, but your hand kind of does it anyway, and the thing starts swinging. Or the other forms, the dowsing rods. You're holding the dowsing rods, little L-shaped pieces of metal, and they swing in and out. It's the subtle movements of the body which actually help it move. You're not consciously making it move. You might not even see it moving with your hands, but this has been studied by science, and yes, the subtle little movements that you can barely see with your own eye do in fact cause an effect. But those little itty bitty subconscious movements, or of course, are things that are told that that's why it's fake. That's why you get a result, but it's not real. No, that is the actual reason why it does work. You see, the subtle energies that are coming into your body coming through the subconscious part of your brain, because the conscious brain is too loud, it's too static, it's hard to push it through. The message will be lost a lot of the time. Not all the time, but it's just easier. You see, it's easier for a spirit or your higher self to move something on your body without your conscious mind getting in the way. That's why ideomotor effect is used by spirits to help guide. That's something that's not being guided from your conscious mind. So that's actually how it works. How well it works depends on your emotional state at the time. Because if you have a deep emotional interest in the subject you're divining, and you're using those methods, the conscious mind might take over the subconscious and give you a couple false readings. Now, false readings are going to happen even if you're very, very good. Nobody is correct 100% of the time. The interesting thing is that when you have multiple questions, or that could have multiple answers, and you add them all up and you find out that you are more right than you are wrong, that kind of hints more to that you're better at getting information than just random guessing, because they did studies on that too, where they believed in random guessing, and usually you tend to be wrong more often on a guess, a raw guess, than you are by using your intuition. You can still be wrong, but moving on. The other thing, now that improves with practice, by the way. Okay, it does improve with practice. You're not going to learn how to do the pendulum from me and then all of a sudden go out and give out all kinds of cool readings. Practice. You need to practice. Okay, and you will see that you become more right and more right. All right. So the other effect is called pareidolia. Say it with me, kids. Pareidolia. This is the subconscious ability that our brain uses to see patterns where things are not supposed to have patterns, where no pattern was intended. All right. This actually came from back when we were still living in the jungle, just got out the trees, just learned how to walk. And when our ancient ancestors looked upon the trees and saw a face, well, that face was either a friend or foe. But they saw the face, they became aware. And to basically take it one step extra to make sure that we would see a face more than likely not, we will often get a lot of what's called false positives. Well, we will start seeing faces in the trees. Now, through all the white noise of the leaves and the branches, you'll start seeing shapes and forms. Okay, basically what this is. Pareidolia is our brain constructing something that we will recognize. And the reason why our brains, with that extra step to try to see faces where there is no face, was to have that extra sense of security. Because if you saw a face in the forest, if it was real, you probably just saved your life. And if there is no face and you see a face and there is no danger, you still keep yourself, oh, I just saw something. You're probably going to save your life. That's how our evolution worked. That's how animals survive in the forest. That is a reason why predators that are going to sweep down and eat a bug, when the butterfly wings open up, they see a gigantic pattern of eyes and what's possibly a nose, which would be a bigger predator, and they fly away. Even in the animal kingdom, nature uses this concept of patterns and other animals seeing what they don't want to see, or maybe looking what they are looking for. Danger, friend, or foe. Babies, they learn how to recognize faces quicker before they even understand a single word, because they see a face, they know that mommy or daddy or somebody's coming to help them, maybe when they're crying. All right, this very pattern of seeing patterns where there is no pattern is a way for your higher self or your spirits to come in and give you messages where somebody else only sees white noise of shapes and incoherent shapes. Somebody comes along, they see a shape because there's a message for that person. All right, so this concept is also why reading things such as tea leaves or seeing shapes in the clouds are able to be used as divination. A lot of skeptics will say, oh, it's just pareidolia, people seeing patterns. But not everybody sees the same pattern. Not everybody sees, or even when they do see the same pattern, have the same meaning for that pattern that they associate that shape with, right? I see a cat, I see, ooh, cuddles. I love cats. You might see something, not a cat, maybe you see a honey badger, which is something pretty tough, right? So the very thing, again, that the skeptics use to try to disprove somebody seeing messages is the actual mechanism on why we see messages for us in forms of divination where there is no clear pattern, but we still see something within the static noise, okay? These two concepts will help you learn to do most forms of divination. Even with tarot cards, they have defined pictures, numbers, and everything else. But when they're laid out and spread, sometimes the person reading the cards can see a story. Something, the cards come together in a certain way that speaks to that person. And even though there's different shapes, and a perfect example would be most of the cards that have faces are facing to the left, and that might mean something to that person looking to the left. Again, I'll teach that in other videos. Or maybe even you don't have to be taught that. Maybe you just know say in a very spiritual tradition or even a culture. In our culture in the United States, left is considered a little bit odd. Most people are right-handed. And therefore, when people say, like in the Christian concept, if you're good and just, you go to the right hand of the Father. That's actually in the Bible, right? If bad, you go to the left hand of the Father. So associations in our culture, because of these things, tell us that left is bad or right is good. But that doesn't necessarily mean that right is good or left is bad. It all depends on the situation. We're going to explore this together. Thank you for watching. But the best things for you to understand is start understanding the concepts of pattern seeking or pareidolia and the ideomotive effect. Learning to relax and let things go. All right. See you in the next video.